Hey everyone, I'm going to do a quick video today for Veterans Day. I have this Blue Knight rubber stamp, Iwo Jima, and I'm going to stamp this today. I want to thank Lynn and her husband Scott. I recently saw them at a stamp show I saw them at a stamp show in Pittsburgh this summer, and then again at a stamp show in Allentown, and this is one of the stamps that they gave me, so I really love it a lot. I'm going to be ink blending my background. This is a quick and easy card to make. So I have some Hammermill Premium Color Copy cover paper. You can use either the 80-pound or the 100-pound. Okay, either one is fine. And I have some Catherine Pooler inks. I'm going to be using them to create a night sky background. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Two of the colors that I like to use are Juniper Mist and Royal Treatment, and then I also have Tranquil. So you see here I've got my light color, and then I've got my blue and my purple. So purple would be at the bottom, representing the darkest area on the landscape. And then of course I'll stamp it with black ink. Alright, so I'm using a silicone mat from QVC that T sent me as a gift, and I really appreciate it, T. It certainly comes in handy. What's nice about it is your ink pad won't move, and that's incredible. That's very helpful. And your paper will also stay in place. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and hopefully I made a little bit of a dark blue mark there, but hopefully by me continuing to layer the ink, that'll fade a little bit. So a lot of people ask me, how do you ink blend your backgrounds? How do you get such nice blending? And here's how I do it. First of all, your paper needs to be smooth. The Hammermill Premium Color Copy cover paper, either 80-pound or 100-pound, is smooth. And that's what's great about it. Works wonders for ink blending. Secondly, you want to have a juicy ink pad. And so this ink pad has been recently re-inked. That helps a lot, and it goes a long way with your ink blending. And I will go back over this again, but I'm going to switch now to the Juniper Mist. Okay, it's a nice, and it's darker blue, and I'll start by inking on the mat and then go on to my paper. It's a nice dark blue. I know Catherine Pooler has a new ink out that's a dark blue, and I don't have that new collection of inks yet, but once I get it, I can't wait to try it and see how that new blue color compares to this Juniper Mist, because I've been using Juniper Mist as my darkest blue color for my night skies. Okay, and now we're using Royal Treatment. You see it's a nice dark purple, and that just reminds you of a night sky. So while I am ink blending, I want to say thank you to all the veterans who have served our country, and for those who are currently in the service. I have a lot of family members who have served, and I have a lot of respect for those who have provided the freedom that we enjoy today in our country. Okay, let's go ahead and try to blend this a little bit more here. So when it comes to Iwo Jima, I work in the city of Johnstown in Pennsylvania, and one of the soldiers who helped to raise the flag at Iwo Jima is a Johnstown native, Mike Strang. Sadly, he passed away during the Battle of Iwo Jima, but he was one of the soldiers in the back who helped to raise the flag. So I guess having that local connection makes it even more meaningful, this stamp. Alright, I'm going to move my mat aside, as well as my blending foams. And I'm going to use my Tim Holtz stamping platform to stamp this image onto this nice ink blended panel. Okay, so we're just going to put it in the corner here, and let's line this up. My panel is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so I will have to trim it a little bit if I want to mat it onto my card base, but I'm going to try to get it as high up as I can. I want the flag to be in the lightest section. We'll see how this looks. Hopefully I'm able to get a nice image imprinted on this piece of paper. Okay, for this I'm going to try to use my Catherine Puller archival ink, but I also am going to grab my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, because between the two of them I'm usually able to get a good impression. What I mean was, I normally start with the Catherine Puller ink. I don't know, you don't need to use 2 different colors of ink. You only need to use one, but sometimes I find that I end up using 2. Okay, that is a juicy ink pad. I can tell that I just re-inked it. So I'm just going to lightly kiss the paper and then back up again. Now I messed up. I have a little bit of an over stamping right here of the ink, so I'm going to probably have to use my mono sand eraser to erase that. And that's because my ink pad is highly saturated, so recently I re-inked it and I must have put too much ink on that. So that was my mistake. And I'm going to just wipe this off with my stamp cleaner. My stamp cleaner is from Hero Arts. It's ultra clean. Giving that a minute to dry before I re-stamp it. It's a little bit dark. Yeah, I think that's a little bit too dark. I think we're going to ink blend that panel again. Number 1, because I have an error, and number 2, I just think that's a little bit too dark. So this is what it's like, real live stamping. Let's try again. Alright, it's only paper, and I have many sheets here that I can use. Alright, so let's grab another piece, and let me grab my mat again. And we will start the process over again, and this time I won't use as much dark until I get to the way bottom. Okay, so let me grab my tools here. Let's start with Tranquil, which is our lightest blue. Okay, here we go. And remember to start by inking off the panel. Yeah, I think I just want the purple to be down by their feet. If I can manage to do that and still get a nice image and impression that doesn't get blended too much into the background. So if the background's too dark, because this is a silhouette stamp, you won't be able to see. If you are a veteran here in Pennsylvania, I saw an ad come through my email that Sheets is going to give veterans a free meal today and a free car wash. So if you see that, take advantage of it if you're able to. So now we have our basic blue background. Down here we're getting into some purple just because the ink from the mat is picking up some of that purple. I'm not going to re-ink my Juniper Mist. I'm going to leave it as is. And same thing with my Royal Treatment. Not going to re-ink it, just going to use the ink that's already on the ink blending. This is the foam domed ink blending tool from scrapbook.com. Just going to leave that the way it is, and I think that's plenty dark enough. I'll go in with my Tranquil and just blend that a little bit. Get that nice and smooth. Okay, and then let's go see if we can just add just a little bit of Juniper Mist along with that, what we've already put down for the royal treatment, just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of contrast at the bottom. I think that's going to make it nice. That's going to make a better impression, I think, and a better stamped image. Okay, now go back in with my tool that I used for the Tranquil and just blend that out. See how that's blending? Isn't that nice? It's giving a nice little gradient down at the bottom. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, now we can stamp the black with the black ink. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Either my allergies are bothering me or I'm catching a cold because it's just really stuffy today and it's no fun. Alright, let's go ahead and make sure our paper stays in place and line up our stamp and make sure I get all that residual ink off of the stamp so I don't mess up my second one, right? Okay, so we want to go up as high as we can to the top. Okay, and then bring that over a bit. I'll go ahead and use the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and later I will try to remove some of that excess ink off of my Catherine Pooler ink pad. That's my fault. I do sometimes over ink. I'm still learning, folks. Just the right amount of ink when you re-ink your ink pads. I don't think it's so bad with your colored ink pads, especially for me because I'm using blending tools like a blending brush or a foam dome blender. But when you are applying the ink directly to the stamp, then, you know, having an overly saturated ink pad can be, you know, problematic. This is a homemade tool that I made using a lid from a candle, by the way. I would like to make some more of these for Christmas presents. I actually have all the materials. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. Okay, I have a list of you who mentioned to me that you would like one. Oh, that looks really nice. I'm really pleased with that. Wow. Now that's great. There's just a little bit of ink right here from that. Probably from the leftover Catherine Pooler. I don't even think I need to re-ink that. I picked it up anyways. You're not supposed to pick it up. If you want to re-ink it again, leave it in the stamping platform and then you can re-ink it again. But I'm really pleased with that. That's great. That's exactly what I had in mind when I was thinking about the colors that I wanted to use. I'm just going to spray a little bit of water on this. Okay, get this cleaned off. One thing about that Catherine Pooler Black Midnight Archival ink, just be really careful. If you use it on red rubber stamps, not a problem. It cleans right off. And I'm using my Hero Arts Ultra Clean right now to get the rest of that ink off. Paying special attention to this area up here by this flag where I had a little bit of over inking. But the Catherine Pooler Archival ink Midnight, which is black, it will stain your photopolymer stamps, which sometimes we try to avoid that because photopolymer stamps you can see through. But red rubber stamps are fantastic because of the amount of detail that they provide. Anyways, one more thing I wanted to tell you is that this tool that I used is from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. It is a magnetic handle that you can apply to your ink pads. They come in this size as well for the oval ink pads from Catherine Puller. The wood has magnets. The plate is magnetic. Together they connect, and it gives you a nice handle for stamping. Because I don't know about you, but I have certainly dropped my ink pad before. And this tool helps avoid that potential to drop your ink pad. If you drop your ink pad, especially if it's black ink, right on your project, you know, it's going to mess up your project. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my little guillotine trimmer here, and let's trim this. So I want to make sure that I'm getting this nice and straight, so I'm lining it up with this plastic tool here that holds your paper in place. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off a little bit more. I want it to be just the silhouette image. I don't want to have an extra, I don't want to have any extra ink down at the bottom. That looks pretty good. This is a really easy image to trim, you guys. You just have to follow the guide of the silhouette image. Just very easy. You see how quickly I made this card. And I think it would make a wonderful card for a veteran. And I'm going to see if I need to trim off a little bit more, because I want to place this on a black A2 card base. Let me grab one of those. I have one ready here. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that actually works perfect. My paper has a little bit of a divot right here. I'm not really sure what happened there. I'll use my bone folder to try to get that to lay down correctly. I'm not sure how that happened. Okay, let's go ahead and apply that to the card base. And I'm not going to worry about that little bit of ink up there. I'm afraid that if I take my mono sand eraser and start erasing, then I'm actually going to erase some of the ink, and I don't want to do that. But if you ever have some white paper and you get ink on it, you can use a mono sand eraser just to erase that bit of ink, especially on white paper. But now I've already ink blended this, and I'm afraid that if I try to erase that, it'll take all the ink away, and then I'll have to start over again. Alright, let's go ahead and tape this to the card base. You can also use liquid adhesive if you'd like. And that's my card for today. Check out BlueKnightRubberStamps.com. They have a wonderful selection of beautiful stamped images. I was one time a guest on their design team, and Lynn and Scott are just lovely people, the owners of Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. And it was so nice to see them at the stamp shows this summer. And in the future, we're going to be partnering with them on some projects, so we're looking forward to that. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, Nancy and I got to see them face to face, and Leah too. So thank you for making this gorgeous stamp, Blue Knight Rubber Stamps, and thank you to the veterans. I hope that you find this card to be a expression of gratitude for your service to our country. All right, everybody, thanks. Have a hopeful day. Bye-bye.